Humanity existed for around 100,000 years. The majority of that time, nothing particularly distinguished us from our ape-like ancestors. It took us over 90,000 years to advance simply from hunter-gatherers to farmers. How long do you think it took us to become industrialists? About 10,000 years. To unlock the power of the atom? Around 200 years. What about the information age, the world of computers we live in today? Only 30 years. We're not just advancing, we're accelerating. The next milestone always seems just out of reach. Nuclear fusion, quantum computers, general artificial intelligence, the list goes on. People have been promising these for years, but when they actually arrive, they don't transform the world overnight. Instead, they fade into the background. What if the next technology wasn't heralded by headlines? What if it was something you couldn't see? Something you couldn't feel? Something we wouldn't even be able to notice if it was already here? Scientists have a name for it. Smart dust. In 1945, the world's first general-purpose computer, the ENIAC, occupied an entire room. 30 tons of metal, glass, and wire. It used vacuum switches, glass tubes the size of a fist, as electrical switches, toggling between states using heat. Despite this, it was barely able to perform 500 calculations per second. Vacuum tubes were inherently flawed, fragile, expensive, and they required intense heat. Transistors replaced them with a solid and reliable alternative at a fraction of the size. But engineers didn't stop there. Kilby and Noyce invented a way to print entire circuits worth of transistors, thousands upon thousands of them, onto a small sliver of silicon, no larger than your thumbnail. Moore's law says that the number of transistors in a silicon chip will double roughly every 2 years. Smaller, cheaper, and more powerful with every coming decade. This means that every decade doesn't just bring better technology, it brings unrecognizable technology. The smartphone in your pocket right now can perform around 2 trillion calculations per second, around 4 billion times more powerful than the ENIAC. We've advanced from PCs to laptops to smartphones, but who says we have to stop there? How small can we really go? Imagine sprinkling sand over locations of interest, battlefields, forests, or even city streets. However, each grain of sand isn't actually sand, of course, but rather a microscopic computer, complete with sensor communication systems and a battery. Each mote, if you will, communicates with each other in a mesh network until the data reaches a central system. Unlike sand, motes are actually so light they're able to float in air, drifting undetected through whatever environment they're deployed in. Think of it as the sensors of the Internet of Things. In 2001, Dr. Christopher Bister in UC Berkeley coined the concept of smart dust with the goal of demonstrating that a complete sensor communication system can be integrated into a cubic millimeter package. For reference, that's 30 times smaller than a grain of rice. Smart dust won't just influence the technology industry, it affects them all. Take environmental monitoring, for example. Scientists can monitor entire ecosystems without setting foot inside. No equipment, no disturbance, no human footprint. Scale that up, and you get SENSE, a proposed system by HP. Imagine a planetary system monitoring air quality, water contamination, and environmental changes in real time. What about healthcare? The cousin of smart dust, neural dust, would be implantable sensors to monitor bodily activity and changes in real time. This could eliminate invasive procedures such as biopsies and diagnose diseases at the cellular level, such as Parkinson's, epilepsy, and Alzheimer's. Consider infrastructure. Motes embedded in bridges, pipelines, and industrial machinery can monitor structural conditions and predict failures before they ever occur. A small swarm of motes costs a fraction of what a single mechanical failure does, in time, money, and lives. The creator of the technology, Dr. Pistor himself, felt that the benefits will far, far outweigh the drawbacks. But everything has a side effect. The thing with smart dust is you can't see it at the end of the day. To stop a threat, you have to be aware of its existence. When motes are in action, you won't see their effect. No, you won't see them, but rather you'll feel their effect. We already live in a time where everything you do online is monitored and tracked. Now that surveillance is coming to the real world. 1984 suddenly doesn't feel so far-fetched. Travis and Clark pointed out something fundamental with smart dust, a lack of accountability. At least with conventional technology, like cameras and sensors, you can tell who owns that technology. You can find out where your data is going to. But a mote floating in the air, there's no way of knowing who deployed that, for what purpose, and why it's there. The smartest market right now is set at $578 million USD. In 2030, it's projected to increase by 6 times, and 2035, 29 times. Just let that sink in. Remember, in 2003, a survey was conducted with 8 motes designed to track moving vehicles. It did it successfully. Right now, for the price of a coffee, you could buy 70 motes. For the price of a car, 600,000. Let that sink in. The environmental concerns can't be ignored either. We're sprinkling our environment with toxic microscopic pollutants from components like batteries. Imagine what damage that could do inside your body. Chemical pneumonitis, the silicon cough. At least with asbestos, it was an accident. We are seeding our atmosphere with invisible, undetectable, unaccountable particles. The motes are so small that they can float in air. This also means that they can deliver biological and chemical agents undetected. A delivery mechanism that leaves our conventional biosecurity protocols cannot handle. But this is only the start. Technology ideas have always changed the world around us. They don't need to be visible to be effective. It took us 90,000 years to advance from hunter-gatherers to farmers. It took us 10,000 years to advance from farmers to industrialists, 200 years to advance to atomic power, and 30 years to advance to the information age. But it's taken you 10 minutes to understand this new technology. The technology is not defined by those who build it. It's defined by those who understand it. Smart dust is already being developed. It's already being researched. It's already being funded. It's already being put into place. It's no longer an issue of who's permitting it from being admitted. It's now an issue of oversight. Oversight is determined by those who are attentive and those who understand the concept. Now, that's you two. Thanks for listening.